Alright then, hey everyone, this is Team Torchwood, and welcome. If you haven't read the title, this is going to be the review of the Aztecs Special Edition. So, obviously, this is the second review in my randomised reviewing series. Pulled this straight out of the bowl at random, and this is what we got with. This is what we got with. This is what we came up with. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So, yeah, we'll start with the packaging and the cover. So we have the Doctor Who logo followed by the Aztecs Special Edition. We have the BBC logo in the top left-hand corner. Then we have the Doctor, the Butcher, and then Barbara. Then we have Doctor Who there, the first Doctor. Moving on to the spine, we have the Doctor Who logo yet again there. Then Aztecs, and then the To Entertain logo. So on the back, you know the rules. You can pause and read if you feel so it's necessary. If you want to, we have some legal stuff down there. We have the special features, listed, and then some information about the story. And yeah, so moving inside, let's just crack this boy open. So we have disc 1 followed by disc 2. We'll talk about the features of those discs in a minute. We'll just get this booklet out and we'll move this to the side. So you guys know the rules. You can pause and read as you so please. Pause and read again. That's the chapter points again. And then I'll open it up so you can read if you think it is necessary. So, and that talks about like the discs in detail about what's going on. So there you go. So I'll slip this back in. And let's get on with the review of the Aztecs. So, let's just start off. There's a disclaimer. The story, if you're a fan of the Aztecs, a big fan, like you think it's the best William Hartnell story of all time, my opinion's definitely going to be different to yours, I'm afraid. Please don't get upset if I don't like it as much as you do, or if I don't hate it enough as you do. It's my opinion, so please do not, get mad at me. So let's just get into it. So, it's 4-part long, but it still feels like it drags for me. I honestly don't know why, and I'm sorry. I could just have to say I'm sorry that I don't like this story as much as other people do, but I can't help it. It just drags for me. I mean, everybody knows the really super iconic line, probably the most iconic line of the first Doctor, when Barbara wants to stop sacrifices in the Aztecs, and then the Doctor says, "You can't rewrite history, not one line," and yeah, so I can agree that it's probably a really iconic line, and I love that line, but this is about the story here, not just about one like phrase that he says. But yeah, so the plot, Barbara gets mistaken for a goddess. So yeah, but the Butcher is in on it, and he thinks that it's absolute bullshit, and believe it or not, it is. And Barbara's pretending so that the Doctor and Susan and Ian are safe. But then Susan gets married off to this other Aztec guy, but then she doesn't in the end, and Ian has to fight in a pit, and the Doctor drinks cocoa and and is about to get married because he drinks cocoa. So that's basically the plot. To be honest, that sums up the plot. So yeah, what do I think of it? I think it's alright. I mean, the plot isn't that bad. I mean, I feel like it drags. I think I can't explain why, but it just drags a lot for me. I just so bored. This story just bores me sometimes. It's not the worst story of all time for me. It's just that I don't understand why people love this story as much as they do. That people give it a 10, So I don't understand why. I mean, yeah. So I think people praise it and say that stuff like, "Oh, the Butcher, he's really, really threatening." I think he's just really, really annoying, and his accent just says, "Oh, I am an evil villain, and I'm going to make it obvious with my evil accent." and I'm going to do all this mean stuff to her friend, to the false goddess's friend. You know, and it's annoying. He's just always annoying. He's not evil. He's not a villain. He's just really irritating. Oh, it's really annoying. People say it's threatening. No, not even close. Another problem I have. I mean, I know that the first Doctor didn't really get all these heroic fight scenes and everything in his era. Didn't get that many, but that's because he's old. But he got hardly any time along with Susan, and I know that like in production, Carol Ann Ford got ill. Like, not got ill, she had a week's break during, that's why they had to add in the plot that she disappeared or whatever, and she went off to be married off to this other guy. And then obviously I think it was something like the Doctor got ill and had to be written out of the episode 4 or something. I don't know how it goes, but he had to be written out of some scenes of episode 4, give the lines to Ian and stuff. But yeah, I just think that the Doctor and Susan are way too much just out of the story. They're not the main focus, and I suppose that's a good thing in some ways, because obviously Ian and Barbara get a lot more time, especially Barbara, which is good, I guess, in a way. But I think a show about Doctor Who, it should actually include the Doctor a bit more. Like, considering this is one of the earlier stories, it's a bit, you know, it's hard to explain, and obviously I'm pissing off some fans, and people are clicking away from the video and going, unlike, unsubscribe, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I don't enjoy this as much, but I don't find a particular, I don't ever see myself in the future just going, oh, I fancy watching the Aztecs, that was a pretty good serial. But no, I just don't see myself doing that anytime soon. I don't enjoy this story. I don't see it as a episode which I find particular enjoyment out of. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna try and see if I can get any good points out. I mean, I love the fight scenes. I do really, really love the fight scenes, like with Ian and the other bloke. So yeah, that's cool. And yeah, to be honest, the sacrifice scene where Barbara like stops it and everything, and the guy wants to be sacrificed anyway, that's a good scene. I quite like that scene. That there are some scenes, and obviously the really iconic line I already said, the Doctor says about rewriting history. I mean, all of that is really good, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, there are some good parts of the story, and I can understand why people do enjoy it, but I just can't enjoy it myself. Sorry guys, but yeah, here's a little thing. I might be just missing something, but if the Doctor, Susan, Ian and Barbara are being threatened and being accused of, and Barbara's being accused of being a false god, and people are being threatening to them, why don't they just fucking leave? Go back into the TARDIS? I mean, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Let me know, because I'm really confused. Why don't they just fucking leave if they are being threatened? They're like, oh, I don't like this place. Why do they have to stay there? I mean, what was the TARDIS trapped? I can't remember. I mean, yeah, I don't understand. Why couldn't they just left? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah. So yeah, I just thought of that in my mind, to be honest, but I just don't understand that. But you know, I mean, that's me just ripping out all the bad parts. I mean, episode 1, just, you know, episode 1 is a good intro, actually. I mean, episode 1 wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't boring as like, I don't know, episode 2, but the intro to the setting and characters and scenario is quite good, to be honest, and getting used to everything, it's kind of cool. I mean, episode 1 is good. It's all right. It's a good opener. Episode 2, very boring, stretched out. I mean, episode 2 is basically should have been condensed into episode 1, to be honest. I'm being perfectly honest. Episode 2 is just more introducing of characters, more ideas and more settings. Why couldn't they just condense that into episode 1 to make both episodes more interesting? I have no idea, to be honest. And then episode 3 is, again, quite boring. I mean, it's an alright build up to the climax, but yet again, that should have been condensed into episode 4, making this story a 2-part. I mean, if the story was more condensed down and less runtime and more action-packed story, then it would be amazing. If it was episode 1 and 2 condensed into one like episode, and then episode 3 and 4, it would be really, really good. I'm being serious. If they condensed it down, I think the story's brilliant. The story is brilliant. I mean, episode 4 is a really good fight scene and conclusion, and actually the conclusion isn't too rushed, to be honest. Looking at it on the bright side, the conclusion isn't really rushed like other stories. They deal with it, and then they're suddenly inside the console room like, oh, no goodbyes then, no last little reflections. No, okay, yeah, that's what some stories are like, but this one isn't. It's a decent sort of conclusion to the whole thing. So yeah, I just think that it should have been condensed down. I know that it's a 4-part, but it still dragged for me. I'm sorry. And therefore, this actually sounds pretty harsh. I was going to say 5 out of 10 I'm going to give this story, but just because of what it is, and because the story is still pretty strong, it's stretched out to God's end, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 instead of a 5. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. A solid 6.5, actually. Yeah, a 6.5. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I hope that this okay, so 6, if you guys know, like 6 out of 10 for me. If it gets over 6 in 6 out of 10 like ranking, then that means that it's recommendable to others. So go ahead, pick yourself a copy of the Aztecs. Go on, go treat yourself. It's an alright story. It's a decent one. It's definitely one of the better Doctor Who historicals. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this review. So as usual with these things, we have the Bowl of Doom. I don't know what to call it. So yeah, there's the Aztecs, ripping it up now. Just ripping it up. So yeah, the Aztecs is finished. And the random DVD, which I am putting into the bowl for a chance. Actually, no, first. I keep doing this the wrong way around. God damn it. We're going to pull out. Trust me, I'm not looking, but I'm going to pull out the next review. The next review. And in here are a bunch of them. You can check out my latest channel update to find out what stories are in there if you want. But I'm going to ruffle them up and then let's go. So I've got one. I've got one. All right. Oh, I literally just did this. Okay, so what I pulled out is Revelation of the Daleks. Oh my god. All right. There you go, Revelation of the Daleks. I literally just did a showdown between Resurrection and Revelation, for God's sake. Anyway, so there you go, Revelation of the Daleks. God's sake. Alright, so stay tuned for... Oh, that story's so bad. Alright, so, anyway, so... Stay tuned for the review of Revelation of the Daleks. Alright, so, the next DVD to replace Revelation of the Daleks is The City of Death. I'm a big fan of it, to be honest. I'm a big fan of City of Death, so I'm not complaining. A good story added to the bowl is a win for me. Right. So, without any further ado, that concludes the review of the Aztecs DVD. Stay tuned for Revelation of the Daleks, and have a nice day. Goodbye.